Good morning and good afternoon. Why am I so quiet? And welcome to the Mucking Fun Day edition of Before Coffee. Did you guys have a good weekend? Was it nice weather or was it terrible weather? We're going to talk about all of that, plus all the drama that was going on between celebrities and crazy happenstances at sports festivals and explosions. We're covering everything, okay? Here on Before Coffee, the Father and Daughter News Show, where we look at the news right before we start the show in our groggedly sleepy state. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see more, and of course, turn on that notification bell so you know when we go live. Let's get into our headlines. Today on Before Coffee, Cristiano Ronaldo mobbed by pitch invaders in major Euro 2024 security breach. Don't worry, he's fine.
An explosion at a battery factory in South Korea that has killed at least 22.
Revealed the catastrophic scale of sewage spills in England and Wales.
And we talk about the hot weather and the wet weather in the United States, and a missing hiker is found after 9 days in California mountains.
Culture news. Drama alert. Why are the Foo Fighters' Dave Grohl facing Swiftie rat?
All those fun stories and not so fun stories for June 24th, 2024, which is Take Back Lunch Break Day on Before Coffee.
Okay. Let's get that lunch break going by first doing some work. And our first news story is coming from The Independent by... Who wrote this article? Please tell me. Jamie Braidwood. Euro 2024 security breach had many selfie-hunting pinch invaders going on to get pictures with Ronaldo. One young fan was successful in his attempt to get a selfie with the Portugal star, leading to others to try the same, to Ronaldo's frustration. 5 fans were able to reach Cristiano Ronaldo in an attempt to take selfies with him after invading the pitch, as major security breach marred the end of Portugal's win over Turkey at Euro 2024. A young fan was the first to evade stewards in the 69th minute of the Group F match at the Westfalenstadion, with Ronaldo happy to pose for a selfie before the youngster was escorted away by security. But it led to several further attempts during the game, and one at full time, with Ronaldo becoming increasingly frustrated with the security lapses at the Euro 2024 fixture. Second supporter, an older fan who invaded the pitch 15 minutes after the first incident, seemed to grab Ronaldo by the neck as he failed in his attempt to get a selfie with the Portugal star. Ronaldo turned his back on the fan, who held on to the 39-year-old after security finally reached him and pulled him away from the forward before taking away from the field. There were 2 more incidents before the full-time whistle, one shortly after, with Ronaldo ushering one of the supporters away as the stadium security failed to stop fans from entering the pitch. And then we have some photos which I can't show you because it's too complicated for me on a Monday. But it's a little kid, like maybe 12-year-old, running onto the field with his arms like this, and Ronaldo is welcoming him. He's like, hey, he's smiling like, hey, you made it on the pitch. A cute little kid taking a selfie with Ronaldo right on the field. Then we've got the guy who's hooking his arm around Ronaldo to try to get a selfie, and Ronaldo's getting, getting pulled along. Then we've got another guy who's... Ronaldo now looks way really pissed now. He's like, hey, can you please leave the pitch? I'm trying to play a sports game here. Go away. Then somebody running on when they're at the goalie post, when he was trying to do a corner shot. And then this is him just going like, hello, somebody get these people off my field. Portugal cruised to a 3-0 win against Turkey and booked their spot in the Euro 2024 last 16 as Group F winners, thanks to Bernardo Silva's strike, an own goal by Samat Akidin and Bruno Fernandes tap in. If you understand any of those words, good for you, because I don't play soccer anymore. But I think I understand what happened. Silva scored his first goal in a major international tournament to the 21st minute when a cross from Nuno Mendes, I know what a cross is, deflected off a Turkish defender to find the Manchester City forward ghosting alone in the area, who then smashed it past the goalkeeper to put the Portuguese ahead. He's from Manchester, but he's playing for the Portuguese. 7 minutes later, Turkish defender Akidin made a comical mistake as he tried to play the ball back to his goalkeeper, who was out of position, and there was nothing he could do to stop it from rolling into the net despite their desperate attempts to keep it out. Portugal kept dominating and extended their lead after substitute Ruben Neves set Ronaldo free with a long ball to beat the offside line, and after drawing in the goalkeeper, squared the ball for Fernandes, who only had to tap it into an empty goal. The win lifts Portugal to a guaranteed first place in Group F on 6 points, 3 ahead of Turkey in second, and 5 ahead of Georgia and the Czech Republic with 1 game to go. So there's your kind of goofy sports happenstance over the weekend. That's what happens when you're too famous. People run on the field just so they can get a selfie. I was there! No, like literally, I was on the field taking a picture with Ronaldo. 5 minutes of fame. That's my story. Yours, I guess.
Wasn't dragged off to prison or anything like that. All right. Well, fan participation is sometime. In tragic news, we'll get this Monday tragedy out of the way for Mucking Fun Day. This is from BBC.com to Tessa Wong and Flora Drury, South Korea. A massive factory fire that began after several lithium batteries exploded has killed at least 22 people in South Korea. The blaze broke out on Monday morning in the Aerosol plant in Hwaseong City, about 45 kilometers south of the capital, Seoul. Local television footage showed large smoke clouds and small explosions going off as firefighters sought to put out the fire. A part of the roof had collapsed. South Korea is a leading producer of lithium batteries, which are used in many items from electric vehicles to laptops to the phone you're probably talking about right now. Lithium batteries. This is what our world runs on now, and fortunately they're quite dangerous. Very explosive. Fire official Kim Jin-young said 18 Chinese, 1 Laotian, and 2 South Korean workers have been confirmed as among the dead. A final body yet to be identified, and there appears at least 1 more person missing. So, Korea hiring foreign workers to work in their battery factories. There's a twist on it. I wonder if they're paying them living wages.
Yeah, right? I mean, let's be honest here, people.
I wonder if they're cutting corners for safety.
Yeah,
You're always going to be suspicious.
They're foreign workers. They're not from here, so they don't have rights to live, you know?
Right.
This is
Chinese.
sarcasm.
What the hell are they thinking? They have rights? Well, it is sarcasm because don't forget, just because they're not American, they can still be evil capitalists. They're everywhere. We gotta make money. Who cares about safety? Yep. Most of the bodies are badly burned, so it'll take some time to identify each one.
Oh my God.
According to news agency AFP. A further 8 people were injured, 2 seriously out of the 100 who had been working when the fire broke out. The aerosol factory housed an estimated 35,000 battery cells on the 2nd floor, where the batteries were expected and packaged, more stored elsewhere. Mr. Kim said the fire began when a series of battery cells exploded, though it remains unclear what triggered the initial explosion. He explained it was difficult to enter the site initially due to the fears of initial explosion. Lithium is also a poisonous gas, so you can't even breathe it. So, other than the exploding part, it is also a dangerous gas. It is not clear what started the blaze. Lithium batteries are at risk of exploding if they are damaged or overheated, as most things are. Whether the cause, once the fire took hold, it would have spread at speed, giving the workers little time to escape, according to Kim Jae-hoo, fire and disaster prevention professor at Daejeon University. Battery materials such as nickel are easily flammable, he told Reuters news agency. So often, there's not enough time to respond compared to a fire caused by other material. That's true. A lithium fire can react intensely with water. Firefighters had to use dry sand to extinguish the blaze, which took several hours to get under control. However, there is still a risk that after the fire is extinguished, it could reignite without warning due to the chemical reaction. So a very dangerous, unstable situation and a position as fires in battery factories are never good. And our next story, and a good news story, let's talk about a missing California hiker says he survived on creek water before being found 9 days later. So this is breaking a little bit today, thinking about factory fires. In California, this is from NBCnews.com, Raquel Coronel Uribe. A California man was planning on hiking for 3 hours. Instead, he spent 9 hours in California's Santa Cruz Mountains. 9 days lost it.
Wow.
Instead of 3 hours, he spent 9 days in California's Santa Cruz Mountains. After witnesses heard calls for help in the wooded area, officials found a disheveled Lucas McClish was shirtless, with only a flashlight and a pair of scissors. BC affiliate KSBW of Salinas reported. McClish, 34, had been seen on the morning of June 11th in Boulder Creek near Big Basin Redwood State Park, about 14 miles north of Santa Cruz, have said. He didn't tell anyone he was going on a hike, but when he didn't turn up for Father's Day 5 days later, his family started to worry and reported him missing. KSBW reported.
I'll be right back. I don't need to tell anybody I'm leaving.
Didn't even tell anybody he was leaving. It was 3 hour hike. What could happen? McClish slept on a bed of wet leaves. He yelled for help and drank water from a creek out of his boot, eating wild berries while dreaming of a more comforting meal. Told the station. At least the berries are in season, huh? Just help! I'm over here. Is anybody out there? I want a burrito and a taco bowl. McClish told KSBW and he would yell out. That's what I thought about every day after the first 5 days, when I started to kind of realize I might be in over my head. McClish spent the days hiking up and down the canyon, traveling from waterfall to waterfall, despite being trailed by what might consider an intimidating companion, a mountain lion, during his lost days. McClish said he felt comfortable the whole time. I had a mountain lion that was following me, but it was cool and he kept his distance. I think he was just somebody watching over me. Yeah, he was waiting for you to die. Back in his home in Boulder Creek, McClish's family struggled to sleep. His mother, Diane, worried whether his son was alive. Some nights I just had to trust God that he was going to be okay, she told KSBW. God, he'd have lost it in the first moment. Saying. Authorities used drones to determine McClish's exact location after the cries for help were reported, and a rescue dog helped find him so he could be brought to safety. Authorities said he suffered no major injuries. Images of the rescue showed the moment he was reunited with his family. McClish covered in dust but hugging his loved ones and relieved. Dozens of law enforcement officers and first responders from the Boulder Creek Fire Department, the Santa Cruz County Sheriff's Office, State Parks, California Department of Forestry, and Fire Protection assisted in the search. McClish's family thanked all of them and friends and family who helped in the effort. And all of them people said, don't worry, you'll get our bill later. I'm just kidding. I don't know if they'll send him a bill. But that's a lot of people looking for one guy.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm not going to tell anybody. I met a lot of people because I had more people come to me and tell me how much they love my son and how they just hope that we would find him. Diane McClish told KSBW, which is like the worst call signs. KSBW is hard to say. So, I didn't realize that so many people in this town love Luke, she said. That's what Mom said. Well, there's your story about the good guy, the guy who went hiking. Didn't tell anybody. If you're going to go hiking, tell somebody, hey, I'm going hiking. I have no idea why you would just do that.
What? Hey, I don't know. That sounds pretty silly. Why would you tell people where you're going?
I don't know. Why does he think a hike is going to end at 3 hours? That's my thing. What are you going to walk for an hour and a half and then turn around and come back? That's the only way you can plan that.
Like, I'm just gonna walk in the
Obviously,
general
he'd leave a
direction,
trail of
and like, hopefully I can get back home. I'm gonna be honest. That guy sounds like that's not the first time he's done something so casually and carefree. And there's no way, right? Even in your quotes from him, he's like, yeah, whatever. So I got lost in the woods for 9 days. Whatever. It's not a big deal. I was like, what do you mean it's not a big deal?
And a side story, he has just been signed to play quarterback for the New York Jets. So,
big news.
That's a little jab at Aaron Rodgers disappearing for nobody knows where he goes. Anyway, the sports fans will get that one. Sports fans will get it.
Okay.
If there's any sports fans out there, you'll get that one. Anyway, back to you.
All right. Well, no sports fans, but we are going to talk about the catastrophic sewage spills in both England and Wales. As if Wales doesn't have enough bad things going for it, they're also dumping sewage in it. This is from Andrew Kersley on The Guardian. Water companies in England and Wales, who most of them have a monopoly, so surprise, surprise, have averaged 5 serious sewage spills into rivers or seas every day over the past decade, The Observer has revealed. Analysis of Environment Agency data has found that 10 firms recorded 19,484 Category 1 through 3 pollution incidents between 2013 and 2022. So let's do the math here. 19,000 divided by 10 years. I can't do the math in my head, so that's like almost 2,000 spills every year. Yeah? Almost 2,000 spills every year. And that means there had to be multiple every day because there's only 365 days a year. So that's crazy to me. That's crazy. Okay. So like there's 5 spills a day that were category 1 through 3. So some of them are really bad and some were really good. Or maybe there's even more. Campaigners accuse the water industry of polluting the rivers and seas at catastrophic scale, while Labour said the government had folded their arms and looked the other way as the crisis worsened. There's been 2 more sewage spills today. Oh, look at that pretty butterfly. The Thames Water was the worst offending company, which I've been talking about for months now, especially since they have a monopoly on the London and South, England area. So London is the biggest city in the country, and they're just telling you to drink sewage water and don't swim anywhere. According to the environmental performance assessments analyzed by The Observer, recording some 3,568 incidents in that time, followed by Southern Water, 2,747, Severn Trent, 712, and Anglian Water, 2,572. Severn Trent, where did they go? Like I said, it doesn't say where they're from. But they've had to do all of these companies, right, which we talked about when it comes to Thames Water, have been paying off the government. So they've been dumping sewage, whether or not on purpose or what, it doesn't matter. It's their job to make sure the water isn't polluted. And they're polluting the water. And instead of actually fixing the issues, investing money into more accurate facilities and filter systems and places that can hold more water because it rains, they just say, nah, we'll just pay the fine. Here's 60 mil. They could be using that 60 mil to actually invest in themselves, but they'll just pay the fine. That's easier. Most of the incidents recorded were category 3, the least severe of these collected, and a type that is supposed to have only a localized effect. But the figures are also likely to be underestimated. The number of severity of sewage spill incidents are self-reported. Yeah, a fine means legal. It's legal for a fee. Exactly. But the figures are also likely to be an underestimate. The number of severity of sewage spilled incidents are self-reported by water companies themselves. Oh, great. I love no third-party independent review. I love just, oh, yeah, it was some sewage got into the water, you know? You might get cholera if you look at the water with your eyes because it just the water evaporating cholera into your eyeballs. It's fine. Just don't swim in it. The incidents and their actual severity and impact go unverified. The environmental industry, which regulates the sector, has faced staff shortages and major budget cuts. The government that have forced it in the past to tell its inspectors to not investigate less serious incidents in order to cut down on cost. This is why you need to pay your taxes. Otherwise, you can't have these people make sure that you're not being poisoned by your own water. Between 2020 and 2022, or you can just have public water facilities, but nah, that's too, nobody wants to pay taxes for that stuff. Instead, I'll pay absorbent amounts to my private water treatment company, who will just poison me anyways. Woohoo! Yeah! Capitalism, everybody! Between 2020 and 2022, there were reportedly 931 pollution incidents in the northwest of England, but the EE attended to just 6. We did our job. The BBC investigation last year into the area's water company, United Utilities, found that it had wrongly downgraded the severity of significant number of its own sewage spills to lower categories, with the results that it avoided potential further scrutiny from the EA. They can't find us if we don't tell them about it. The state of the UK's rivers and seas has become a major campaign issue in the general election. Labour's Shadow Environment Secretary, Steve Reid, told The Observer that the Conservative government had just folded their arms and looked the other way while water companies pumped a tidal wave of raw sewage into our rivers, lakes, and seas. He said that Labour, if elected, they're going to get elected. Just a quick aside here. If Labour does not get elected in this next election, I don't know. It's being freaking manipulated somehow. There's no way that the Conservatives are winning this election. But anyways, would give regulators the power to ban bonus payments and even levy criminal charges for law-breaking water bosses. Thank you. Stop telling them to pay you and put them in jail. There's so many of these water companies are just like, oh, this is our 1,000th fine we've had to pay this year. Oh well, put them in jail. After like 5, it should be like, if you don't fix this issue, you're getting kicked off the board, and somebody else is gonna have to take over because you're gonna be in jail. The Liberal Democrats environmental spokesperson Tim Farron, whose rural Westmoreland and Lonsdale constituency is one of the 25 worst affected by sewage releases, said the issue was a national scandal, which has gotten worse and worse under the Conservatives' watch. The Conservatives' record is one of rising sewage levels and water firms stuffing their pockets with cash. He added, the Liberal Democrats have led the campaign against sewage with plans for a new water regulator, an end to disgraceful bonuses and profits, and a new sewage inspector. I'm telling you people, if you live in the UK, please vote for anybody but the Tories. Anybody. They can just... anyone. They don't care. In March, it was revealed that England's privatized water firms released raw sewage for a total of 3.6 million hours in 2023, more than double the scale from the year before. A small number of untreated sewage releases are allowed during periods of unprecedented rainfall, when sewage systems are overwhelmed. But a recent BBC investigation found thousands of illegal releases on days when it hadn't even rained, including during a heat wave. Imagine you're dying of a freaking heat stroke, and you're like, I need to get cold quick, and you just jump into the river, and it's like, great, now I've got pink eye and a cholera poisoning because I didn't want to die from a heat wave. Despite this growing scrutiny of the industry in recent years, the pay packets for its leadership have remained high, of course, like the Liberal Democrats said. They are pocketing the money. Oh, sorry guys, we're gonna have to increase your water bill. Thanks though, we'll make sure to give you an extra poop scoop just for you. The 9 chief executives of UK water companies receiving more than 25 million in bonuses. That's not what the money they make normally. They're giving themselves a gift every year of 25 million pounds in bonuses and incentives since the last general election. That has included bonuses awarding for hitting environmental and sustainability targets. There's further evidence of what we've long suspected. Water companies are polluting our rivers and seas at a catastrophic scale, each and every day, says Gilles Bristow, the chief executive of Surfers Against Sewage. These companies are brazen in their lack of regard for the law and have been allowed to pollute with barely more than a slap on the wrist. A conservative spokesperson said the government had been clear that water companies need to be held accountable, that they had introduced and presented levels of transparency with 1,000% monitoring and applied the largest ever fines to law-breaking water companies. Put them in jail! A spokesperson for Water UK, the organization that represents water companies, said that numbers of the most serious pollution had fallen over the last decade and stretched that the industry plans to invest £100 billion into its network that will come into action once it receives approval from the regulator Ofwat. I do want to say that Ofwat's regulator needs more funding, maybe needs to be completely reworked because they're not doing their job. They're supposed to be regulating all these water companies, and it seems like it's just getting worse for everyone. Okay. But there's my very long, very angry story about water. Water is one of those necessary needs we need to live. We can't be putting sewage into it. We can't be poisoning our own water sources. It's just not sustainable in any environment. No. It doesn't matter where you're living. It's not good. So, here's my story. Back to you. The Roginator.
Hey. Wow. Thanks for the nickname. Did I Roginate anything? Okay, on to what we seem to be reporting on weekly, definitely, but almost daily, is the weather is getting ridiculously harsh, at least in the United States and worldwide if you look around. But in the United States, we really keep track of it because we love our tornadoes and our floods and just the fun weather we get here. This is from CBS News. Weather woes forecast to continue as flooding in the Midwest turns deadly and extreme heat heads south. Millions of Americans sweated through scorching weekend as temperatures soared across the U.S. while residents were rescued from floodwaters that forced evacuations across the Midwest. One person was killed during flooding in South Dakota, the governor said. The National Weather Service said the worst of the heat wave would shift from the mid-Atlantic to portions of the southeast and southern plains by Monday, bringing welcome relief for major cities from Washington, D.C. to Boston, but it may be short-lived. Plenty of Americans are still sweating it out Monday, with more than 60 million people under heat advisories in 21 states. High temperatures are expected from South Dakota to Florida, and the heat is expected to start climbing again in the mid-Atlantic as the week goes on, even rising back towards triple digits by Wednesday. Oh boy. Parts of the Midwest already inundated with floodwater, meanwhile, could see more significant rainfall in the days ahead. Here's what we know. Flooding kills one in South Dakota. At the borders of South Dakota, Iowa, and Minnesota, floodwaters rose over several days. In South Dakota, Governor Kristi Noem declared an emergency after severe flooding in the southeastern part. Several highways are closed. Areas south of Sioux Falls, the state's largest city, and an estimated 10 to 15 inches of rain over 3 days. National Weather Service hydrologist Kevin Lowe said. At least one person died in the floods, Noem said on Sunday without providing detail. Several rivers, including the Big Sioux, James, and Vermilion, were expected to peak sometime Monday through Wednesday night, and the governor said at a news conference. I want to remind anybody to remember that the power of water and the flow of water, and to stay away from the flooded areas, Noem said. We've got a few days in front of us here that'll be a little rough, but we'll get through it. And then she went and shot a dog. Just kidding. She didn't shoot another dog. Okay. Emergency management officials in the small South Dakota communities of Dakota Dunes on Sunday issued a voluntary evacuation order in the area of 4,000 residents. Dakota Dunes is near Nebraska and Iowa borders. It is sandwiched between the Missouri and the Big Sioux rivers, both of which are expected to crest in the coming days. Well, you live between two big giant rivers, you're going to get floods, I guarantee you. Emergency management in Dakota Dunes warned residents that a mandatory evacuation could come quickly if flood barriers are breached. In northwest Iowa, 13 rivers flooded in the area, said Eric teaches of Clay County Emergency Management. Entire neighborhoods and at least one entire town were evacuated. When the Iowa town of Spencer imposed a curfew Sunday for the second night in a row after flooding that surpassed a record set in 1953. When the flood gauge is underwater, it's really high, Tejas said at a news conference organized by Spencer officials. Governor Kim Reynolds declared a disaster for 21 counties in northern Iowa, including Sioux County. A drone video posted by local sheriff, no streets are visible, just roofs and treetops poking above the water. National Guard troops are helping with water rescues and transporting needed medications lost in the flooding. Businesses are shuttered, main streets have been impacted, hospitals, nursing homes, and other care facilities were evacuated. Cities are without power and some are without drinkable water. National Weather Service meteorologist Donna Uberiki said parts of Nebraska, southeastern South Dakota, and southern Minnesota and northwest Iowa received 8 times the typical average rainfall, and more heavy rain is expected in the week ahead. CBS Minnesota's Jennifer Meyerly reported from Waterville that parts of the cities were literally underwater on Monday morning. Only literally underwater. The only way to be underwater is literally. And resident Lana Romhill said he heard the forecast predicting even more rainfall. So we're just bracing, he said, and hopefully it's not going to get any worse than this. It's ridiculous. I don't even know if there's a word for it. It's just unbelievable. There's a bunch of words right there. Unbelievable. A state of emergency was in effect in the area where much of 18 inches of rain fell over the weekend. National Guard troops were expected to arrive Monday to and help residents cope. No, that's not a good sentence. To help residents cope with the rising floodwaters. The word "and" did not. Hello, editor. Hello, CBS News. Minor to moderate flooding was expected along the Missouri River, according to the officials with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. As long as the levees hold, we're not expecting any major impacts, said John Remus, Water Management Division Chief for the Corps in Missouri River Basin. Elsewhere, the Heatwave was the biggest story. The cities of Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Philadelphia all saw record heat, and both the nation's capital and Los Angeles saw the mercury climb into triple digits over the weekend. At the beginning of the week, the stifling temperatures were expected to move to the south, but for many, caution would still be warranted. We still have prolonged heat wave across portions of Ohio Valley and into the Northeast. Weather Service meteorologist Mark Chenard said on Sunday. We'll get a little bit of relief early in the week, at least in the eastern United States and Northeast, but in general, above normal temperatures are going to cover a large portion of the country even into the week. It's more important for people who are going to be outside to stay hydrated because heat, humidity, and low winds, even if you're in good shape, are not really acclimated to it. It can be a real danger. Said Bruce Thorin, National Weather Service meteorologist in Oklahoma. It happens quickly, he said. Last year, the U.S. experienced the most heat waves since 1936, experts said. The AP analysis of data from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention found that excessive heat contributed to more than 2,300 deaths, the highest in 45 years of records. So stay dry, stay cool, and I don't know, learn how to swim if you can. But swimming cools you off, and if you're flooding your town, well, swimming is going to save your life. So there's your stories about the weather.
And as we just covered the water treatment debacle in the UK, check your water before you learn how to swim, because just because it's happening in the UK doesn't mean it's not happening anywhere else.
No, you probably should learn how to swim as soon as you get flooded. That's where you gotta go. Whether the water's safe or not, it'll still drown you. Cleanest water in the world.
Swimming in flooded waters is also very risky because there's more than sewage in flooding water. Sure. All right.
Oh, and I sent you a mic drop. I sent you a clip. So
I got it. Fine. Again. Okay. I've received it. Let's go into our culture news. Drama alert. That's right. the Swifties have started, or the toxic Swifties, let's not say they're all, the radical extension of the fan group that is called Swifties are angry at Dave Grohl because he probably criticized Taylor Swift, and nobody's allowed to do that, ever. This is on Your News Culture, most likely by David Marquand. I'll check.
Him, he's a boomer.
But it's usually him.
He's Generation
We're
X.
just
He can't
stealing
do it.
all his news stories every day. That's what we do here. Yeah, it's David again. All right, thanks, David, for writing another lovely article about the drama in the celebrity world. Let's see what's going on. Why can't everyone get along? Taylor Swift fans are getting all hot and bothered about comments made by the Foo Fighters frontman, but there is any reason to get hot and bothered about it. This past weekend was the great one for London-based music fans. Taylor Swift was at Wembley Stadium with her Globetrotting Eras Tour. Even brought out her American football player boyfriend, Travis Kelce, as a surprise appearance during her performance last night. The moment sent a crowd of almost 90,000 wild. A crowd that included the Prince of Wales, Sir Paul McCartney, Tom Cruise, Bridgerton's Nicola Coughlan, and Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer, trying to get those Swiftie votes. On the other side of town were rock legends the Foo Fighters performing at a London stadium. Something for everyone then, and they all lived in perfect harmony. We wish. You see, the Foo Fighters frontman Dave Grohl has come under fire for some comments about Taylor Swift, and they did not go down well with some people in the Swiftie army. As they were gearing up to play the band's song Statues, great song, Grohl informed the crowd that Taylor Swift was also playing in London. Factual, nothing wrong with that. The crowd began to boo, and Grohl responded by saying, "I tell you, man, don't want to suffer the wrath of Taylor Swift." Again, reasonable. Swifties are known to take offense when any negativity is directed at their high priestess of pop. And you can't hold Grohl responsible for a crowd getting rowdy. So far, so good. Grohl continued, "So we like to call our tour the Errors Tour. Instead of the Errors Tour. We've had more than a few eras. More than a few fucking errors as well. Just a couple. That's because we actually play live." What? Just saying. You guys like raw, live rock and roll music, right? You came to right fucking place. Ah, there it is. Swift fans, aka Swifties, interpreted this comment as an insinuation that Swift doesn't perform live. And the backlash was, well, Swift. Take a look at some of the reactions. Which is, how very mean-spirited of Dave Grohl to make a dig at Taylor. So Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters says at his show in London last night that Taylor doesn't play live. Well, she's not playing an instrument. I'm sorry, guys. She plays the piano sometimes.
She's
I'll give you that. She plays the piano on
Is
stage.
the band live?
Yeah, but she doesn't have a live band. I've never seen that. Maybe she has a live band. I've never been one. I'll never be able to afford to go to a Taylor Swift concert. So but I'm just saying she doesn't play it, right? She's not back there with the drums, you know. She's not doing any of that, okay? She plays the piano, strums her guitar, totally fine. But this is obviously just crowd work from Dave Grohl, right? Dave Grohl is just heating up his crowd. That's why they're here, right? They could be at Taylor Swift's concert, but they're not. They're at his concert. I used to love this man so much, but what the fuck? What has she ever done to him? Does he hate successful women? And why did he have to say that in a stadium full of people? Okay, calm down.
No, they're all gonna give away the game now.
First Damon Albarn, now it's Dave Grohl. Aging rock stars feeling threatened by a woman who's afraid of a little old Taylor Swift. These men are. Dave Grohl thought he was the man by implying Taylor. They're making it into this sexist tirade. It has nothing to do with that. It's just crowd work. It's like this.
Talk about missing the point. Yeah. It has nothing to do with being a man.
Taylor doesn't sing live, but ended up coming off as a sad and insecure little man that is threatened by a bigger and more successful artist. She had more hits, sold more albums, and performed live longer than Grohl could ever dream of. Dave Grohl would start to cough in 3 days. Is this payback for Swifties? Aim for your C-U-N-T, daughter. Wow, they're attacking his daughter. What does she have to do with anything? When she shit talks Taylor because you used to praise her. That last and frankly horrific comment refers to the fact that Grohl's daughter, Violet, was cyberbullied by droves of Swift fans earlier this year after the 17-year-old posted about the singer flying her private jet everywhere. He was allegedly sent death threats, and Swift has not spoken out against the actions of her fans. She probably fucking should. Wow, I wonder what prompted Dave Grohl to take a little swipe at Taylor Swift. I'm sure it's totally unprovoked, and not at all to do with his 17-year-old daughter being relentlessly trolled and sent death threats by Swifties because of its totally innocuous tweet back in January. And all she said was, why can't Taylor Swift just drive like everyone else? That's all she said. That's all she said. And people were like, you should kill yourself. How dare you? Taylor Swift touch a car? No, she would never. She's actually carried by a horse and carriage everywhere on a dragon, thank you. I'm being a bit...
Could you imagine...
Sorry?
Could you imagine if all the music... I'm just interrupting. Could you imagine for a second if all the music stopped on the Taylor Swift concert, and you would find out if it's actual musicians playing or it's just piped in music? Because if you look at the concert, I don't see any musicians on the stage or anywhere near the stage. I see dancers, I see lights, I see shows. I don't see musicians. Who's playing the music? So I'm on board with Dave Grohl. You're going to see mistakes in live music. You're not going to see mistakes in the Taylor Swift show unless a dancer makes a mistake. So what's the
only mistakes you ever get in these kind of pop arena shows is, oh shit, we messed up the playback, you know? And that's about
the lighting,
it, you know?
the lip syncing isn't up.
Yeah.
Who knows if she lip syncs? Lots of artists do.
You're definitely
even
still
if she isn't lip syncing, I don't see...
You're definitely still singing, but you're singing to a backing track, right? So when you're doing a pop thing like this, your backing track, you can sing kind of normally, and the backing track will kind of like lift you up. So you're a bit louder, you know, you have more fuller, but you don't have to go hard every time, right? Because she's playing thousands and thousands of shows. She's not going to give her best performance every single show. Her voice is going to explode. So that's what the backing track is there for.
Don't ever take a Swiftie to a Bob Dylan concert, is all I'm saying. Because not only can't he sing at all, he's croaking at this point. His songs don't sound anything like the records. You can sit there and play memorize all the Bob Dylan songs, you'll never recognize when you start. It'll be 3 verses in. Oh yeah, that's blowing in the wind. You've been there. But it's blowing in the wind. That's what that is. You don't know because he's doing it different each time. You go to live shows to be surprised. But if you're just going to hear the replay of the record, you're getting cheated. That's just my take on it.
Yeah, for sure. But don't worry, guys. Not every Swiftie was toxic and sending death threats to Dave Grohl's daughter. Some users understand exactly that Grohl's comment wasn't a jab. Taylor Swift puts on a spectacle on an insane scale that no one outside of maybe Prince or Beyonce could ever match. And Lady Gaga, sorry. Lady Gaga is a great stage performer. BTS, also great. There's plenty of pop acts that sacrifice the music so that they can put on a show, like theater, you know, like a musical. It's a different kind of showmanship, 100%. As a guitarist, I think what Taylor does live is more impressive than anything a traditional band could do in the same space. Yeah, because they have to get their instrument out. You can't have yourself flying across the arena on a rope while playing your guitar. That's just not going to happen, right? It's a totally different kind of show here. You could do it, but your music will suffer, just like Taylor's music suffers because she wants to put on a show. She doesn't want to sit down on her piano the whole time and just play her music, you know?
True.
It's not a hot take at all.
Anybody can do it, but...
Yeah. I took Dave Grohl's comment about playing live as a playful jab because they're the Foo Fighters. They have to play everything live because they can't do what Taylor Swift can do on the stage. They're not that kind of band. That's not their appeal. Yeah, I don't think Dave Grohl's gonna start doing a dance routine. I don't know what I would do if I saw that. My brain would explode if I saw Dave Grohl doing a dance routine. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Am I in an alternate dimension?
What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Gonna be lit.
The anti-Dave Grohl campaign has begun, and that's my man, and I'm gonna stick beside him. And you guys can fuck off. Foo Fighters' Dave Grohl implies that Taylor Swift doesn't play live during the band show in London. We like to call our tour the Eras Tour because we actually play live.
Yeah,
Call Dave Grohl pathetic is definitely a choice. Dave Grohl takes break from Foo Fighters tour to feed the homeless. Yeah, he's pathetic. How dare he?
Yeah, he's pathetic.
Swifties trying to say Dave Grohl's is relevant is actually insane. Like Dave Grohl, the member of not one but two of the most iconic bands of all time, is irrelevant. Seek God. Oh my OMG, come on. Dave Grohl made a little joke that can't be the clip everyone is making a huge deal out of. As fans of both the Foo Fighters and Taylor Swift are at Uranus
He made
Culture.
his fans feel good.
Yeah,
How
David
dare he
Morcran
make his
encourages
fans
the
feel
passionate
good.
fans to just get along, stop taking everything so seriously, and not to insult people's family members. In the Euronews Culture review of the Eras Tour, they wrote, "Plain to see that this is a dazzlingly slick parade to witness. It's a hard to fault Swift for trading the sense of spontaneity, and I'm loath to say genuineness, for precision. It all needs to be precise and minutely choreographed. But the well-oiled machine doesn't mean that every affected turn, wink and laugh, look at the camera, and phrase uttered doesn't feel one over-rehearsed and practiced within the inch of its life. While I personally love a more authentic gig with room for improv and off-the-cuff moments, there's no arguing that with results. This show goes to show why Swift transcends even the highest echelons of pop fame." So that's the review from Your News Culture, which they're just saying she's basically putting on like a play, right? All right, scene 3, we're gonna be doing this. No, you can sometimes in a play do a little sides, you can wink at the audience, but mostly she is on a track. She's staying on that track so that she is on time. I think her show's like 3 hours long. You know, it's a long movie that people are sitting down for. Basically.
Is there a part of the show where she introduces all the band members?
Yep.
Is there a part of the show? Because every band, every concert I've ever been to introduced the band members. Does she do that? Same.
Like we've been going over, this isn't some sort of competition on who deserves to be on the stage. They're two different people.
Well,
We are allowed to have differences in our lives.
His criticism is
appreciate
completely
them.
fair.
Yeah.
Why is he not allowed to compare his act to another act, whether it's Taylor Swift or anybody else? Just like, you want to see real musicians make real mistakes, maybe start the wrong song, by mistake or whatever.
Forget their lines in the middle of the freaking thing. Yeah.
Man, I know people that went, like, for instance, I know people went to the Who concert back in the day, or expecting keep drum with a bunch of very polite. Like, I'm so funny drums. Now, that's her name ripped off. Didn't see the real Who, but they get their lives. And so does the guy who played drums with the Who, by the way.
Yeah.
He got a story for the rest of his life. Pete Townsend, can anybody here play drums? Anyway, you're not going to get that Taylor Swift because the music's going to be perfect. It's going to be on
Every
key.
time.
Every note hit properly. Every time.
And
That's all
not
he
to
was
start
saying,
some
man.
more fan wars here or anything.
He could have
But
just
I
said,
did mention BTS, and BTS has
perfection.
done plenty of shows where they actually bring on a live band
what?
that plays their music in the background while they're dancing and singing and all that. You know? So it's not, you don't have to do it this way, but this is what Taylor Swift wants to do. She wants to put on basically a
It's not
play
like an appearance.
that's perfect every time.
It's not like an appearance of Top of the Pops in the 60s.
Yeah.
England, where you sing to you have to record an instrumental track for your TV appearance. So they're not gonna put up with you making a mistake on live TV.
Yeah.
You're recording an instrumental track, or you're gonna lip sync the whole thing. Those are your choices. We'll do an instrumental track and try to sing it. That's what their choices, legitimately. So if you're just gonna have a big tour and you're gonna make a lot of money, if you can get by with not paying musicians, I don't know, you pay them for the original composition, but the music's yours, and you don't have to pay them for each night.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe she does use real musicians and we never see them, but
Maybe in the
Anyway,
final
I'm not too
final
upset
show
about
she
it.
does, she'll bring on a whole band and then some local artists to play on her tracks on stage. Who knows? That's the end of the story, really.
I don't like the Kansas City Chiefs either. Yeah. Okay.
Anyways,
Okay,
fuck
this
Taylor
day in
Swift
history, I
is
guess.
Rog's
We're going
opinion, I
on
guess.
to. We're gonna get on with this. It's not about the. It's more
I
about
know.
why don't people think that their singer/artist favorite whatever is infallible and can't criticize. You know what you can do for me? You can criticize Bob Dylan all day long. I might even agree with you. Bob Dylan, asshole, probably. I don't know. But you can have any opinion you want about anybody I listen to, and I will probably agree with you. I might even. Doesn't really affect me.
Yeah.
Some really super rich person making money off their music does not affect me at all. If they get criticized, they're just going to have to take it. How about that?
Mhm.
Shut up, count your money, cry all the way to the bank. I don't care. Just be quiet. Worry about yourself, not some superstar's feelings, because she don't care. I guarantee you, she's just laughing and having a good time at your expense because you're so bent out of shape by it. Anyway, 1497 in this day, John Cabot became the first European to set foot in North America since the Vikings. How do you know that? How would you know that? That's just no way you can prove that.
Border crossings.
Anyway.
Did anybody depart from the Europe today? No, it was only him.
What's that?
I guess you would just have to know like your border crossing.
Yeah, that's right. John Cabot. And then he went home. He went home. How do you know his advance party didn't come aboard on a rowboat first?
Exactly. You know,
he came on a rowboat and said, "Okay, it's safe for John Cabot." And
there's no grizzly bears here. He can come. John Cabot can go.
No natives have chopped off anyone's head. Also, it says since the Vikings. That's very specific. Since the Vikings. What, the Minnesota Vikings? I don't know what you mean by that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some Danes somewhere. Question
mark. The Vikings.
Those guys.
Between an unspecified person somewhere on North America at some date and 1497, there was no Europeans. Oh, okay. We've narrowed it down. Anyway, we're not going to dwell on every story. None of those
Vikings stayed, by the way. They just put their feet on the boots.
Yeah, right. 1519 on this day, Theodore Beza, an author, translator, educator, theologian who assisted and later succeeded John Calvin as the leader of the Protestant Reformation.
The Calvinists.
Was born. He was born. That's a big mouthful for saying he was born on this day.
The reason why Belgium left the Netherlands. The Calvinists and Huguenots.
Mm-hmm. Yep. In 1795, William Smellie, who is the Scottish compiler of the first edition of the Encyclopedia Britannica, died at the age of 55. Wow. He only lived to 55 and he spent most of his time compiling the Encyclopedia Britannica. 1821 in this day, South American patriots under Simon Bolivar defeated Spanish royalists on the plains near Caracas, Venezuela in the Battle of Carabobo.
Can you turn on and off your camera?
Bolivar, who's... What?
Your camera's doing something weird. Can you turn it on and off again?
My camera on and off?
Oh, fix it. There we go. All right, we can see you
better?
Again. Yep. You can continue.
Better? Okay. Simon Bolivar, of course, is on a lot of money in South America. The very famous South American who defeated the Spanish. In 1859, the Battle of Solferino, the largest engagement in the Second War of Italian Independence, was fought in Lombardy. In 1932, the promoters of revolution, a bloodless coup, overthrew Parajapahit, the king of Thailand, ending the absolute monarchy in the country that initiated the so-called constitutional era. 1947, American businessman Kenneth Arnold saw a number of objects flying like saucers while piloting a small plane over Mount Rainier, Washington. It is considered the first modern sighting of UFOs and gave rise to the term flying saucer. Just so you we're wondering where that came from. 1948, Berlin blockade intensified when the Soviet Union announced that the Western Allied powers no longer had any rights in Berlin. Okay, way to go, Russia. Way to go, Soviets. Way to screw up and end the World War II. 1987, football, and as parentheses, soccer. Lionel Messi was born in Argentina on this day in 1987. Big old superstar in soccer, or football. You Europeans call it, and everybody else. Australian politician Julia Gillard was sworn in as Australia's first female prime minister in this day in 2010. In Dobbs versus Jackson's Women's Health Organization, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade in this day 2 years ago, ending constitutional right to abortion. And you got a chance this year to vote, you better vote, or they're gonna take away even more of your rights, because it's still the same Supreme Court. And you got two old fogies on the Supreme Court named Sam Alito and Clarence Thomas, that if Trump wins, they're going to resign. They're going to quit right away and just get on with, that grift they've been doing the whole time. And this time it's going to be without anybody's scrutiny. Getting millions of dollars just to be, retired. Anyway, those guys will retire and they'll replace them with bright, shiny 30-year-olds. That'll have the same politics and it'll be there for the next 40 years. So it's very important to elect Joe Biden so he can promote, he can appoint justices that will reverse this abomination. There's my little speech on why you should vote if you have a uterus. If you don't have a uterus, I guess you don't care. If you have one, you probably care who owns it. You probably think you probably should own it. It's just my guess. Yeah. Anyway, our featured event. On this day in history, Napoleon made a big mistake when he decided to invade Russia. On this day, 1812, French Emperor Napoleon, who had massed his troops in Poland in the spring to intimidate Russian Tsar Alexander I, and 600,000 troops of his Grand Army launched a ill-fated invasion of Russia. He was defeated at Waterloo sometime later.
Waterloo.
Okay, and Jack Dempsey. Yeah, Waterloo. Other birthdays today, our featured biography, Jack Dempsey, American boxer, born June 24th, 1895 in Manassas, Colorado, and died May 31st, 1983 at the age of 87. Jack Dempsey, one of the great heavyweight champions. Other birthdays today, St. John of the Cross, the Spanish mystic, born in 1842. Ambrose Bierce, American author, born in 1842, covered Jack Dempsey. It's Mindy Kaling's birthday. She was born in 1979, American actress, comedian, author. And
she was in The Office.
What days is it?
It is
other
show. She was in The Office. The Indian actress.
The Mindy Project. So, the Mindy Project was her show. It's National Patch Day, so it's time to sew them patches or iron on them patches on your clothes. So you can represent.
I thought it was like
like
an update, like you patch your. You're right, it is.
No, or it could just be a patch in your hole in your jeans, which people don't do anymore. People just
or
love
those
the holes
really
in your
cool
jeans.
patches that show that you're a motorcycle guy.
Yeah,
or something.
patches. Yeah, that's a kind
Girl
of
Scouts.
Patches. Like the sew on. Yeah, like I'm in the I'm a ranger or whatever.
Actually, it looks like
in the
it's
Marine
for
Corps
children
or the military.
with cancer.
In the military, you can sew patches on your.
For specifically, according to the Center for Disease Control, about 47 children are diagnosed with cancer in the U.S. each day. So that's what it's. Oliver Patch Project. Wear those patches and support. Buy patches to support kids with cancer. This is the idea. There's actually a video here of Shaq wearing a patched vest, talking about supporting these kids with cancer.
There you go, Shaq. It's National Take Back the Lunch Break Day.
Hell yeah.
So We're discussing this before. Take all the time you want for lunch. And it's also National Pralines Day. Pralines are them sugar encrusted pecans, basically, right?
I think it can be any. I think it can be any nut. Legume nut.
Oh, okay, got it. A legume or nut. That says praline. Yeah, you're right.
They even give you
hard rock sugar.
Yeah, they even give you 3 different types. There's the Belgian one, which usually is almost liquid. And there's the French one, which usually uses almonds and caramelized sugar. And then you've got the American one, which contains milk and cream, is softer, creamier, and resembles more like fudge. So I like the Belgian ones. I like the crunchy, snappy ones.
I just like praline. I don't know. I like them in my ice cream.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know why I like big crunchy bits in my ice cream. Anyway, those are your dates for today, which is June 24, 2024 on B4. It's 6/4. I'm going to say 6/24/24. This has got to be a mathematical equation. Anyway. It's 6/24/24 on Before Pralines.
Okay. This has been Mucking Fun Day. This has been Allison from the Netherlands and Rog from the US. And we are done with this new show. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. Turn on those notifications on when we go live. And have a good one. We'll see you on Tuesday for Good News Tuesday. Here's the mic drop moment.
You ain't nothing but a hound.
The original artist.
Oh, yeah. And, of course, Big Mama Thornton finally going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
As they start recognizing people that actually were there before rock and roll.
Yes.
Which they should have been doing all along.
God, I wish I could sing like that. You know, really put your heart into it. But I don't really have a powerful voice like that. So impressive.
I like the filming of this too. I like the way they do it as they're a spectator and just come visiting the club for the first time, right? Get it from every angle, see all the musicians, see the guys struggle with the freaking electric bass. You see the electric bass, my friend? They didn't have electric basses. Weren't that common back then.
It looks good.
You wanted a bass, you had to have big boots. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I can do those dance moves.
Yeah, you clap your hand.
Yeah, get it. I'm typing up the guitars.
Elvis, of course, made his own recording about this song. It was about an actual dog, I think.
I mean, like a hound dog is just a dog that just chases stuff, right? And delivers
Hound
your
dog
dead duck
makes-
to you or
makes that-
whatever.
Hound dog is the, like the bloodhound.
Yeah. You're just a predator, man. I think that's what she's saying. You're just a freaking predator.
You too.
Yeah. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.